So, Apple has apparently just partnered with Israel to create a new chip for the new iPhone, and now people are calling them out for a complete boycott. At least, that's the version of the story being shared all over social media. When I first saw it, I thought it sounded like a pretty massive announcement if Apple, one of the biggest companies on the planet, and Israel, which is at the center of one of the most controversial conflicts in the world. So, if Apple had generally announced some new state-level partnership with the Israel government, that would obviously be a very big deal. There's just one tiny problem. The iPhone that these posts keep mentioning, the iPhone 17s, does not even exist. And after looking for an actual announcement from either Apple or the Israel government or any major publication, I could not find any evidence of this so-called government level deal either. So what actually happened here? The viral story appears to be several real facts mashed together and turned into one much more dramatic claim. Apple did release a new phone called the iPhone 17e, with an E, not an S. That phone includes Apple's C1X cellular modem. Apple's own announcement describes the C1X as a modem designed by Apple. It does not announce a new partnership with the Israel government, and it does not say that Israel is manufacturing any phone's main processor. But this is where the story becomes a little bit more complicated, because the Israel connection is not completely invented. The Jerusalem Post reported that the C1X modem and Apple's N1 wireless chip were developed in close cooperation with the engineers at the Apple's development centers in Israel. And that is a real connection, but Israel employees designing components and Apple signing a new deal with Israel to manufacture an Israel chip does sound familiar when you squeeze them into 10-second TikToks, which is probably where you first saw this entire scandal, and probably the reason you're here watching this video right now. But they mean completely different things. Chip design is also not the same as chip manufacturing. A company can design a component using engineering terms spread across several countries and then have that component physically fabricated somewhere else. Imagine you made a lemonade stand in your garage at summer when you were like 8 years old, and now you're 12 years old and you want to move on. You want to be able to distribute your lemonade everywhere, not just in your mom's garage. You want to take it further. But then imagine someone comes along and tells you that you're not allowed to even make it outside your mom's garage. So even though Apple's chip is being made in Israel, that does not mean that Israel is making the chip for the iPhone. It simply means they are like a chef following a recipe. So there's simply no danger for any of those exploding chips that people have been talking about if they follow the recipe like they're supposed to. I mean, we have seen a lot of technology being borderline explosive from the Israel country, but this is simply just a recipe sent and then they make it. Nothing more than that, so you don't need to worry. Another thing that also came up on my For You page is that Apple has purchased an Israel company, and that would be some sort of partnership beginning. But no, it is not. Apple has bought a company called Q.ai from Israel. And what that is to help with the new Apple Intelligence for primarily Siri and in the photos you take with your iPhone, for example. What it does is it has extremely good facial recognition, whisper recognition, voice recognition. I mean, it has some serious AI features to keep your identity to your phone tied. And I wouldn't say that that is just used for malicious intent, because imagine if a thief that had stolen your phone could never ever unlock it. Apple is pretty secure in that way. And imagine if it was so detailed with the Face IDs and Iris IDs and fingerprint IDs that they could never unlock it, no matter what they tried. That would be a big step up for Apple. I do understand the concerns, but to be honest, if you're worried about your phone stalking you or listening to you, you probably shouldn't own a phone in the first place. I'm sorry to tell you, but I am pretty sure we all know that that is impossible to avoid here in the big 2026. I'm not saying that using AI for everything is a good idea, not at all, but at least we know that our phones is not gonna randomly explode if we decide to upgrade the new iPhone. Apple do make some questionable choices, so I do not blame you for thinking that this could be one of them. But fortunately, for now, our phones are not gonna explode. So if you like this content, be sure to drop a like, drop a comment. I am happy to answer any questions you have. I have read basically all the articles on this issue right now because I was thinking about getting the new iPhone for myself and obviously do not want it to randomly blow up in my hand. Any questions? Feel free to ask. If you like this content, give it a like, or if you want to see more, give it a subscribe. I'll be sure to get back to you, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.
Religion, I say no, but they keep giving, so I keep on taking.